take the great pleasure in introducing my Sajady.
Hi. There's a lot of familiar faces, and then can I just have a show of hands of who's new to me? Okay. So quite a few. So I'll go through on why I'm here. Actually, I'm a computer programmer. Okay. So very, very different than probably what you've seen or heard or read about. In fact, I think a lot of you actually are more familiar, say, with the lingo, the language of spirituality and all that. I'm none of those. I come from a computer background, again, so I'll use computer language, computer terminology, and so on. And in fact, that's what I do. In a nutshell, I reprogram you at a different level. Okay? It's like I'm that spiritual geek, if you will. You know, there's certain programs that run in us, right, that we don't know about. Right? You can, for example, if you have kids, right, you might be going through something, it might take you 3-4 hours on the computer, your kid comes up, it's like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I've been trying to get this darn thing to work, and then it's like, let me show you how to do it. And then they do it, what, in a few minutes for you, right? What took you hours? So you guys can do anything that I can do. Again, since I have a broader background, perhaps, I just do it faster for you. The nice thing is I'm not here to say I can do all those things for you. I'm actually here to open you up to those other realms, to those programming realms, really, where you can start editing your life yourself. Does that make sense? It's a lot better that way, don't you think? Rather than going, hey, I need to go to mosque to do this. Oh gosh, I need to go to mosque to do this. Because I don't want you to become a follower. I'm not a guru of any aspect. I'm not a religious leader or spiritual leader or anything like that. I'm just actually a normal person where you guys should be, really. I'm basically normal. This is what, say, us humans, if you will, this is our normal paradigm. Okay? I'm like Roger Bannister. Do you guys know who Roger Bannister is? Okay. Roger Bannister, he was the first guy that broke the 4-minute mile. Okay? Before he broke the 4-minute mile, nobody could do it. Once he did, it was world news, by the way. Very celebrated. And then a few months later, a few more people broke the 4-minute mile. And then 6 months later, more and more people. Nowadays, if you're not running the 4-minute mile, you're not really considered a runner, right? So that's basically, I'm here to show you, say, the abilities or the power or the concepts or the life that we could actually have. Okay? And again, once that's open to you, once you're aware of it, something inside, deep inside, awakens. So there's really nothing that you have to do physically, although you'll be guided on what to do. You'll be guided on, say, the people, the places, the things, the remedies, whatever it might be for you to transform. It's an eternal job. There's nothing like, okay, I have to think this way, or I have to do this in order to get, say, Y, right? Most of you have been doing that, right? Whether it's a religious practice or whether it's some motivational technique that you've learned or modality, right? Whatever it might be, you're always doing, say, something physical. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. In this case, though, it's really not what you do physically, but it's how you're being, how open you are to the realities that are around you. Okay? There's really nothing wrong with you. You are complete, you are perfect in all aspects of your life right here, right now. We just tend to be in a dream state. We're kind of forgotten, a little distorted on, say, who we are. Okay? We're not quite completely awakened. So what do? It's through my near-death. And just for those people who are new to me, you might be feeling a little different. I can work on you as a group, okay, while I speak. So if you're feeling a little different, that's fantastic. If you need to, say, lay down or sit down, whatever, that's fine too. Now I forgot. Okay, never mind. Yes, the near-death experience, thanks. I love that guy. Anyway, the first near-death, it was in my early 20s, about 22, warehouse job, I was in college, and I was seeking for something. Just like all of us, I was seeking for something. Something that made us whole, complete. And as a teenager, I actually studied the religions, while other people were partying and so on like that. I mean, I partied a little, but most of the time, I was actually like studying, the religious scriptures and so on and so on. And then I realized, that wasn't quite, say, complete. I knew a lot of people who were religious, but, why did they have a lot of aches and pains? Why were they suffering, right? Why were they incomplete? Our family, fortunately, middle income, we had a lot of, say, wealthy people, wealthy friends around us. Okay? And I thought, well, if I had more money, right? Because most people think, if I had, say, X amount of money, and then I'll be happy, things will go better for me, and so on and so on. I realized in my early days, because I saw a lot of friends that had a lot of money, and I realized that, they had just as many problems, if not more, than people who didn't have money. Okay? I'm not saying money is bad. A lot of you might think that if I do have money, it's sinful, I can't get into that righteous place, I'm doing something wrong, I'm greedy, and so on, so we'll talk about that as well. I actually just worked on it. So that wasn't the right aspect. So I went towards motivation. I spent tens of thousands going to motivational seminars and so on, trying to figure it out. So that wasn't complete either. What did happen, though, on my first near-death experience, I was in a warehouse job again. I had my jaws crushed between a moving wall and a ceiling member. And I'm not going to get into the details. You can go to my website, sajady.com, to find out all the details. But the important thing, I'll give you highlights about that. The important thing is that as I had that near-death experience, I started to see myself floating away. And the cool thing was I could see myself again as a mere image as I was floating away. And then I realized, I'm going, wow, my body's over there, but my consciousness is over here. How does that happen? And that is the instance where I realized that I was dead. And it was the most beautiful, exhilarating feeling that you could ever have. There was no fear, there was nothing, anything close to that. Again, sense of total, complete realization. And that instance, actually it felt like it was just yesterday, because there is no time, no distance in that realm. So again, there's no time or distance connected to you. But at that instance, I started to realize that I'm, bigger than the cumulative parts of my experiences. If I ask you who you are, right, you're going to say, I'm a teacher, I'm an accountant, I'm this, I'm that. Worse yet, some women go, well, I'm so-and-so's wife. They've lost total identity of who they are, right? In fact, some of you guys who have gotten married in here have probably gotten married because of security, not because of love, from what I'm kind of scoping through the room. So, anyway, I can read you guys. And I'll get into, say, some of my abilities and so on. But that was that first instance, again, of realizing who we completely are. Okay? It's an amazing, freeing experience. And that's what I do for you guys. And that's really, really key. Once you start to awaken to that idea that you're grander than, say, the sum of your total physical experiences, okay, you start to go back, and then you start to think more about, say, your spiritual experiences. Now, how many people here believe in past lives? Okay. How many people don't? Let's say that. Just a few? Okay, fantastic. For those people who don't, okay, let's just call it spiritual DNA. And that's where, say, most of the issues that I see occur, either from, say, a past life issue or from a familial background. Okay? Basically, you guys have picked up on, say, the family. Right? Your mother had issues and so on like that. Just to give you an extreme example, this woman, she had like 2 or 3 abortions. I tapped into her and I go, and she didn't want to talk about it. And I go, well, you've had a couple miscarriages or something like that? And she broke up crying and she goes, oh, I've had like 3 abortions. And for me, there's no judgment. But for her, It totally devastated her life. But, you know, tapping into her family lineage, and I asked, I go, oh, your mother had some similar experiences? She goes, yes, she did. And then it's like, oh, tapping in further, it's like your grandmother had similar experiences. And she said, well, yes, and so on. So is that something that she actually physically did that she's, say, being chastised for? And again, nobody chastises you other than yourself. Or is it just a pattern that is run in your life, right? So it's really, say, not your fault, but it's the programmings, it's the default programmings that you come in with. Okay, and I'll explain that in just a minute, too. The point is, though, it's not your fault. It's your responsibility to awaken and transform. Okay? So a lot of times go, well, that's just the way it is, you know, or that's just the way life is, and I'll be the way I am. That's not true, guys. You actually get sucked into, say, that space even more, that darkness even more. Okay? Anyway, the second near-death experience came through. Actually, let's go back to the first. The first near-death, the other aspect, again, you review your life. In that life review, I came to that level or floor where you review your life. And what that means is you relive your life completely from, say, 0 or maybe beyond, a little before time of birth to, say, the time that you crossed over. Now, you live every moment of it. You scan every moment. The reason why, you know, I'm sure you've heard near-death experience people go, your life flashes by in front of you. It's because we just don't have the capacity, the mental capacity to actually have that much information go through us in such a short period of time. For me, it was 22 some years that went through maybe in a flash, maybe in an instant, because there is no time value. But in this time value, and that's what your brain picks up, right? But at that time, that no time, no space, you relive everything, which really distorted my perception of time or distance. And after the near-death experience, I started seeing time in a different, I started seeing time as a variable, not a constant. Okay? I could actually say, not by command, but I could see time compress for me or time expand for me, and so on like that. For example, I'd go to, you know, I'd drive somewhere far away that maybe took like 7 hours. And yes, I like speed, but I wasn't speeding or anything. And it took me like 4.5 hours. And I'm going, well, how did that happen? And again, I wasn't speeding, just average speed. You know, things like that that just made you totally, it's like, wow, how did that happen? Or how did I transfer into, say, another place, right? Without really, say, having that knowledge of, say, going into that space, right? Or taking the time. So the little things like that started to happen. I started to see future visions and so on. With those abilities, I opened up a successful business. Fast forward to my second near-death experience. Now this is where it got really, really cool, or you know, that world really opened. And this is where, say, that difference is between me and a lot of other people who've had near-death experiences. You know, there's over 800 near-death experiences a day, just in the U.S. alone that are documented. So quite a few in the U.S. Just alone. So the difference on this second near-death experience, and again, I'm not going to go through the details because I want to get to your questions. That second near-death experience opened me up. It was a drowning accident, and I got sucked into a tunnel in Belize. And this time, again, I ascended. I let go of my body. I could see my body float away. Okay, ascended up through the rock, through the waters, and this time I went into that heavenly blue space. So actually, I transcended beyond the tunnel. Okay? Now, most people who die don't transcend through the tunnel. You've heard of people go, well, my loved ones were there for me, right? Or say something else happened. So there's different layers. That initial loved one is, say, the entrance of that tunnel. Okay? And then you go to higher and higher layers. I think there's like 10 or, well, 13 layers or steps that you go through. And then you break free into that vastness, I call it the deep blue. Okay? At that level, you are complete. Okay? And I'll just give you a little snippet of what I experienced there. At that level, again, you're totally complete. You don't need anything. You are, say, whatever you are. You don't need the love of your loved ones. You don't need, obviously, money or anything like that, because, again, You are there. You can transform yourself into anything that you need. Say you wanted to go to Ireland or something, right? It's not like you're going to go there as a physical person, but actually you feel the essence of that area. Okay? You're there in real time, just being in that space. And then a few minutes later, I wasn't even, say, my present moment. If you got rid of your body, right, you'd have a consciousness of who you are, right, a physical form of who you are. You go beyond that in that blueness. You totally understand what spirit is, because spirit has no form. It has no sex. It has no experiences, okay? Because it is all the experience that ever is, ever will be, and so on. I actually transcended into those levels. Well, at those levels, since you are complete, you have total knowledge of everything that's there. I've actually acquired that knowledge and somehow have brought it down into physical form. So that's the key, or that's why I'm so different. And that's why, I can transform you in, say, a few people. I think it actually happened here, this gentleman. He was sitting in that area, and we're going to do a group meditation. He was sitting in that area, and I just touched him as I walked by, and he collapsed. Okay? And the next time I saw him, he came up to me the next, I don't know how many times I speak a year here. But anyway, he came up and he was like crying, and he's going, when you touched me, I collapsed. The next day, my vision came back. So, again, he was ready for that change. I'm just that medium that kind of pushes you over to the other side. And again, we'll talk about that as well. So the key there was that intelligence that's up there for all of us, really, once we start to awaken. So why don't more people go through that higher tunnel? Because a lot of fears, a lot of, say, distortions from previous lifetimes that come through, okay, that keep us filtered. We really have to be dumbed down to live in this arena. Okay? We seriously do. People who have died and come through, they see the heaviness or thickness, actually, that creates us. We are not, say, physical bodies, if you will. We're not as solid as we think we are. This room here is not as solid as you think you are. It's really all created of frequencies, or a combined dream state in this essence, right? We all pretty much see, say, similar things. Right? And that's how, say, life is created. So we start to see our bodies in a certain frequency. And then that's how our life, or our bodies, are created. And then that's how, again, if you got into, say, the deeper, or your core level, or your blueprint level, once you understand that, you can edit it. You can edit those programs, your blueprint, basically. You change the blueprint, right? And then whatever's created from that blueprint has to change. Does that make sense for you guys? And again, if we can talk more about the details, but I want to get into your questions. Because I can go into details, and most people go, well, and now I think you're kind of feeling it as well. It's like, you know what? I really don't care what he says. Can he help me with, my back? I was in Palo Alto giving a speech to these scientists, and all these intellectual type people. I thought it was going to be a fantastic time for me, because they're going to ask me all these fantabulous questions, to get really deep, because I get into, the quantum physics and so on how, say, my abilities work. And at first it started out that way, and then I worked on some individual, and, their back healed or something like that, and then after that, everything just fell apart. They didn't even care what I was saying. They just, lined up while I was talking, and it's like, can you help me? Can you help my children? Can you help this and this and this? So, again, at that physical level, what do we want? We don't want all that intelligence, right? We don't want all that stuff that's really out there, although we think we want it. The only reason we want it, in fact, the only reason psychologists become psychologists, for the most part, is to really understand and help themselves, if you think about it. And I'm not picking on psychologists, but a lot of times, the only reason a lot of people are in, say, Greenpeace, right? Trying to save the world and so on. Why is that? Because they're trying to save their own selves. They're trying to find an identity for themselves, right? So they go on and on. Yes, I'm not cutting down Greenpeace or any any activities like that. But again, know the reason why you're doing it. Okay? If you are becoming whole or complete yourself, whatever activity you do, whether it's psychology or Greenpeace or anything like that, it becomes far more substantial, not only for you, but then for other people around you. Right? So always create that wholeness, or become selfish, if you will, and understand yourself completely. You know, in airplanes, right? You guys have all been on airplanes, right? What do they say? If the oxygen gets too low, put your own mask on first, okay? And then help whoever. It's better that way, because if you help others and then you get distorted, I see a lot of distortion here, because you guys are such nice people. Minnesota nice, basically, you know? You are so nice. You're always like overextending yourself. You're always there for the other person. But you know, it's really wearing you out, right? Where are you going to go to, say, help heal yourself or help get rejuvenated? Okay? Anything in nature, did you always notice that it always rejuvenates itself first? Okay? It invests it in itself first. Okay? It takes care of that aspect. You are part of nature, by the way. So start taking care of yourself. You'll see that awareness really, really expand, and perhaps that's why you're here. And then, when you're strong, you can help a lot more people. Okay? For example, me, I can work on like 200-300 people a day, and I have. Okay? And it doesn't distort me. I don't need any water, I don't need any food. I mean, I drink a little bit of water, but 13, 14 hours, just straight, one after another. Anyway, where does that, say, energy or vitality come from? That comes from pure source. Okay? You're always sustained if you're connected at those deeper levels. Okay? You don't need anything outside of yourself. The nice thing is, the money that you need, the relationships that you need, the happiness that you need, the excitement that you need, all those things that you've been searching for, right? If you do get them, I work on a lot of millionaires. In fact, I worked on Guns N' Roses, the drummer. Anyway, fantastic, right? A lot of success and so on like that. But just like everybody else here, kind of empty on the inside, right? Always kind of like searching. So you know, how does that happen? Again, it's not the physicalness of this world that you want, really. It's the completeness that you want, and you think going outside of yourself is going to make you complete. These meditations that we're going to do in about 5-10 minutes will actually bring you inside. A lot of your meditations, what do you do, or prayers, or anything that you do, you go outside of yourself, right? You set yourself free, because a lot of times, you know, you don't want to be inside yourself anyway. So you do meditations, from what I'm seeing, to let go of the person that you think you are, right? Because you don't know who you are in the first place. These meditations actually pull you into your body, okay? And that's what your only purpose is. It's not to save the world. It's not to save other people. It's not to create anything dynamic. All those have been created. All the inventions in the world, where do they get them? Not Einstein. Edison said inventions or ideas are in the air. You know, you're just that radio receiver that picks them up. So again, all those things are already created for you. Okay? It's really about you, say, strengthening and coming complete awakening. And then you can use the physical things like money, you know, success that comes with money, or anything else, relationships. You get to see it from a grander, more whole scale. And it becomes the icing on the cake for you, not the cake itself. And it's self-sustaining, it's self-rejuvenating for you. I've helped tens of thousands of people, say, come into that space. Some people, just to give you statistics, about 30-40% of the people, say, that I work on, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 sessions, whether they're group sessions. I don't do individual sessions because my practice has gotten so big, but some of the, like industrial group healings or so on, where I spend about 5 minutes with you in a 40-minute session with other people. They transform with no, what I call detox, because they don't have to let go of anything. They just want to let go of it all at once and then go forward. Then there's another, say, 30-40% that have to, say, think about what they're letting go, you know? And they have to go back and remember. It's like, oh, I remember this memory and why it hurt me so bad and this and this and this. And, they have to forgive people, they have to forgive themselves and so on, which is totally fine. That's your rule set, but it takes you a lot longer, okay? As you say, let go of that to come into a new identity or a new paradigm of how you look at life, okay? And then the other, say, smaller percenters, like 5% or so, it takes maybe a lot longer, maybe a year or two, but still a lot shorter than, say, a lot of modalities or a lot of things that you guys have done in the past. And that is because there's either a control source in this world or outside this world, or a lot of fear, or actually that control source might be themselves as well, because they need to control their environment so strongly. Do you know what I'm talking about? Some of those people, they have to control every little aspect of their life. Those type of people take a little longer because they have to let go of that control. Okay? So it takes a lot longer to, say, peel away those layers for you. So, anybody have any questions? Yes, do you want to come up? Sure. And if you could make them quick.
Gabriel, he's 7.5, and we've been, I feel silly saying it because we've kind of been displaced in a modern and very blessed way, but still not knowing where we're going to live. So we're looking for a place to live, and he's very emotional and angry, which I know I have my part in that too.
Yes.
So his name is Gabriel.
Sure, we can work on him.
Okay. And then my question is, if we are here to be in our bodies and awakened, and not to save the world, because if we don't save it, who will? So within our soul, is there like a most deepest, profound expression of our embodied divine self that is meant what we're meant to bring to the world? Right?
Yes. So that first question, which was, if you are not here to save the world, who will?
Well, yeah,
right?
I did say that, yeah.
Yeah. And while I'm answering that question, let's release a lot of, say, pain or tension or whatever that's here. I've worked on it before, right? Yeah. So a lot of things actually have cleared it mentally and physically for you, from what I'm seeing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then you harbor or you pull in your son's stuff as well and hold on to it here. So I think you're actually here for me to release, say, all the garbage that you've accumulated. Kind of like, when you are moving out, how you accumulate all the trash, all the garbage from all the closets and put it in one big pile. Yeah. You tend to hold it right here. So let's work on that, release that for you. So if we're not here to save the planet, who will? Does the planet need saving? Or is it really our own reality? If you really think about it, a lot of those movements, right? Or a lot of people that need help. If we are not in the space of, say, well, I want to donate X amount of money for this, I want to go out and help the hungry and so on, because it makes me feel good. Most people donate, they go out to Greenpeace or whatever because they feel complete themselves, right? So there has to be an experience because we're all fantastic beings, we're all fantastic creators. Well, what do? We create experiences like that. It's like, oh gosh, there's hungry people out there. Gosh, I gotta go save the whales. Gosh, I gotta go save, the Amazon forest and so on, right? And by the way, all those millions of dollars or billions of dollars that are donated, all those millions of people that have, say, tried to save something, have you noticed it's gotten worse? Right? Why is that? Because there's more people in need that actually need to feel complete. So we're creating more and more disharmony for our experiences because there's so much more people that are incomplete. So again, if you come back and feel complete yourself, right? Your space doesn't need correcting. That's an automatic correction right there because we create, say, the identity or the experiences that we have. Bring it down to a family space. Have you ever noticed those people that always say, oh, my family complains all the time, all of this, and we always get into arguments and so on like that? Because some of those people, say, are distorted, right? They're always tense. Have you ever noticed that if they are calm, right? And I've seen this happen in families. When that one individual is calm, have you noticed that whole family stays calm or complete, right? Kind of like the same thing. You don't have to create, say, exercises or, say, illusions of distortion or health. In fact, if you believe in any type of religion, and any religion says this, that anything distorted in this world can, again, change just like that. The world can come down, or the mountains can come down in, what, the blink of an eye, right? So can anything else. Again, all the issues that we think we have, all those really clear up. And that's what happens to thousands of people, by the way. They go, their lives are so distorted that, I'm so exceptional that nobody can help me. But once they transform, they see that a lot of their distortions, without having them to do anything else, because I asked them, I go, well, what did you do specifically? And they go, I don't know. It just happened. They're just happier. They're just more, say, they have more income. They have better relationships. Again, because your perception has changed. You become who you are. Did you have a question? Yeah, you want to come up?
Hi, Moss.
Hey.
I'm an identical twin.
Okay.
And so my question's about the soul.
Ah.
Identical twins, 1 egg, 1 sperm.
Okay.
The cells go from 2 to 4, and then we split to 2.
Okay.
And there's an identical twin out there, of which we haven't spoken for in 20 years.
Oh.
And I wonder, do we share a soul, or how does that work?
Okay. And I tapped from you, right? Yeah. I was actually working on you through him, and okay. So I picked up that he was an identical twin. Yes. It's not like you guys share a soul or a spirit, okay? And they're not interchangeable words. But you are connected at some level, like most twins are. But there's, I don't know if you have physical pain right here. But that's how you two, say, connect or communicate to each other. It distorts you. You can only go so far, whether it's physically or, say, at a spirit level, or even, say, finances. You can only go so far because you two are tethered. Okay? Have you guys ever done the 3-legged race? Right, it's kind of hard. Basically, that's what they seem like. So let's go ahead and disconnect you. And at first, you will get, say, distorted or disoriented because you've always been tethered in this lifetime. And then as you become free, he gets distorted, you get distorted for a little bit till you regain, say, your own legs. And then you start going in on your, say, own life journey. But no, you are not of the same spirit. Your spirits are not split. But there is some, say, identification or closeness, obviously, and that's why you decided to come into, say, the physical form. You know, when your spirits are split, it's not a good thing. It's not like one spirit having multiple experiences. There are people who do that, but basically they duplicate themselves and then have multiple experiences. So that's something else than a split spirit. A split spirit, I can see that, and that's where, say, schizophrenia, a lot of heavy mental distortions, mental abilities, all those things start coming into you. People who are in, the insane asylums, those individuals, they have tears, they have, say, ripples in their spirits. Any other questions? You want to come up on? Yes. Are you feeling by the way? Good. A little different?
You're right.
Yeah. And what'll happen for you is that a lot of memories that you might not even know about, kind of connected from him, kind of coming through you, and vice versa for that other person, as they start to release and let go for you. Okay? It's going to be quite intriguing, interesting for you. Do you want to come up? And then we'll do a group meditation where I can run around and work on all you guys, okay? Yes?
Do you have to have a near-death experience in order to connect with Pure Source?
No, not at all, and I think that's why I'm here. That same experience that I had, could you put that down? Because then it vibrates. Thanks. It creates that echo. No. So what happens is, say, I had the near-death experience, and what happened to me was I was connected to Pure Source at such a high level. Okay? It awakened me. Near-death experiences, yes, they're a fantastic way if you're awakened before. you have that near-death experience, or, again, groomed, it'll kick you into that space. Sometimes when I work on people, they usually have, and again, not everybody, so don't get afraid. Those people that want to, say, ascend really high, yes, they have an accident, similar to a near-death, or they might go into surgery or something like that, okay? Because anesthesia is a way of, say, disconnecting you, right? So it might be, say, something small or whatever. But anyway, they disconnect, and then when they come back, everything seems a little different, so they bypass. It is a quick way to do it. You don't have to have a near-death experience. Somebody close to you might have a near-death experience. There are other ways. Sometimes when you look at great beauty, right, or it awakens you. So there's tons and tons of different ways. The old paradigm, the old way to do it, yes, was, say, to have a near-death experience, and that's what most people, but it's not true anymore. What I've done, or what I basically do, is that same connection that I've had, that I've gotten after that near-death experience, I bring it into you without, say, you guys having that near-death experience. That's all. So I'm really that anchor person for you. I'm not that person that heals you. You know, although I have abilities, yes, my only ability really is a pure awakening. You know, if I just stood here, which would probably get boring for an hour, you guys would still shift the same way, whether I talked or not. Okay? Or whether I touched you or not. It doesn't matter. There we go. Let's get rid of all this head stuff that you have. It's almost like a dude. She's kind of like she runs in different time frames. You know how your eyes are separate and your ears are separate? And that's how you know sound, right? Where sound comes from, okay? So you have a visual representation of yourself. It's really based on Einstein's theory of relativity. Dependent on where you are, there's different opportunities available to you at that time. Okay? That's why time, you may have heard that all time happens at once. It's really not true. There's a linear time. And we have abilities of going back and forth in time, if you will. Okay? But anyway, for her, oh, and by the way, at this instance, there are different realities for you that could happen at this moment, right? Anyway, for her, she has like multiple, say, time realms that she's in. So I see her as like a duplicate here, another one, kind of copies, little copies of her. So she's in different realities at one time, and it kind of distorts her. I mean, that's a nice gift to have if you understand, or if you have, say, a base where you operate from, and then you can go into those realities, say, accumulate knowledge or pull knowledge from those realities and bring it in. This just kind of distorts her, and that's why I think she has, say, some time issues. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. She doesn't care. She just wants to feel, say, whole or complete. By the way, I'm not like pushing her or guiding her. You know, it's really like a film projector. How's that fun? You're so welcome. It's really like a projector. You know, our spirit creates the body that we are, really like a hologram, right? We're that projector. And as I tap into your projector to put you in focus, it distorts how your body, distorts how your spirit represents your body, and that's why I say people shift or move around or kind of feel disoriented. So we'll take one more question, and then we'll do a meditation. Somebody knew. Who knew? That guy, right, with the glasses, the cool glasses. Hey.
Hi, Mas.
Hey.
I would like to ask if there's anything that I could receive right now to
Sure.
better or define the pathway of least resistance.
Sure. The first thing, do you want to give that to her? And then it doesn't revive. You know, when I see you, again, everybody sees what I see, okay? But you guys see it at a subconscious level. Okay? I'm just highly aware, and then I can see the patterns, and that's how, by the way, that communication works. Okay? People see how you want to be treated. Okay? So if you treat me badly, or you know, I'm a lucky person, basically written on your forehead, then isn't that amazing that no matter where you go, people treat you badly, or people go, hey, I'm a lucky person, and they'll treat you that way. how do they pick up on that communication? It's written right through you. Okay? In your instance, it's like a lasso around your legs. You can't go far. Does that make sense? You always say stuck no matter how hard or how intelligent or whatever it is. It's not about that. Okay? It's really about, say, letting go. And for you, it's actually like a family culture. And it could be, you know, your own culture a bit. But it's really about, say, a stagnancy or, well, a noose around your legs that bind you. Even if you, say, you know, had the perfect plan, what would happen is you wouldn't go anywhere. Just because at spirit level, again, he's bound. So let's break whatever contract, and it's a contract that you really didn't sign. It comes from your, well, let's just, 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5 generations up. Probably one of your uncles or, and this is far from it, but it kind of reminds me of, so a lot of people, and again, I'm not talking that wealth is bad, but some of the wealthy individuals, like the Kennedys, right? Fantastic amounts of wealth, fantastic amounts of power, but why is there so much devastation in their lives? Right? Why is that? Somebody sold their soul to the devil, basically, to accumulate that wealth. It's as simple as that. And people really think it's like a joke. You know, some of those great minds in our reality, they connect to the higher realms. Okay? And some of those, when you connect to those higher realms, people think, oh, it's this angel I'm talking to, or whatever it is. It might be just a power source that wants what you have. And it gives you, say, certain abilities. Or it gives you massive amounts of wealth. All they want is a little bit of your spirit. Okay? Or a lot of your spirit. And people go, well, you know, that's not a big deal. You know, it's not a big deal at all. The sad thing is, those contracts don't get broken when you die. People think, well, when I die, it'll be all over with. Next life you come back in, you're controlled by that. So, for example, his lineage, somebody way above him, not bad. I wouldn't say a dark sort of frequency, but say maybe a grayish type frequency. Anyway, the people down the line get affected. So, sure, real quick.
So what's the relationship then between your frequencies, you have contracts, you have karma, and your responsibility? How is all that?
Okay. So she said, what's the relationship? Because you said, because you have frequencies, you have relationships, you have contracts, you have karma, and you have responsibilities, right? The last two I don't believe in at all. The karma, how many people believe in karma? Something that you did wrong in a previous lifetime, you're paying it for it this lifetime. It's not true at all, guys. Not true at all. It's just patterns that run in you, really. I believe in karma in this lifetime. If you're, say, a bad person, negative and all that, you'll attract negativity towards you. But if you become, say, awakened, but one caveat, if you totally believe that you have karma and you're paying for a debt, then the next lifetime you'll end up paying for a debt. Okay? Just like if you believe that you're non-deserving in this lifetime, you're going to run your life like you're non-deserving, right? Does that make sense? So make it grander, and then at some lifetime, you go into the next lifetime, and then you go, well, I'm non-deserving. So that's how we run. So if you believe in that type of karma, then that's fine. But as a global setting, there's really no karma. The point is, and again, going back to religion, any religion, they say that if you say accept, and it's amazing, X or Jesus or this or that, it'll awaken you, and all your sins are forgiven. They're not talking about, it's not about accepting, it's actually, if you come to a true awakening, all your experiences will get distorted or deleted, and then there's nothing to pay back, there's nothing to forgive. And again, that goes into a deeper discussion that we could probably have some other way, or some other time. How are you feeling, man? Feeling very, you feel different. I know you feel great now, but you'll actually feel like there's a sense of freedom, like walking out of a cage type feeling. very shortly. Yeah, you're welcome. And a lot of projects or whatever, I think there's 2 or 3 projects that you're working on. There's one that you, say, get guided to, and that's the project that really helps, say, connect, or you connect, and that's how you make it, or whatever it is, it works out for you. Just because of this. Because again, it opens you up. Okay? It's not for you, again, just this few minutes is probably all I needed. Again, you'll be back just because it's cool and you want to know more of how it works. But you know, if you did nothing else, that's really all you needed to, say, break that contract. Let's go ahead and meditate. Okay, guys? Let's stand up if you can physically stand up. And if you can't, that's fine. If you guys want me to work on you, kind of like spread out so I don't have to go through the aisles. Okay? And just give me a little room. And I know I can't work on all of you. Okay? And right after this, guys, I don't have a lot of time. I just have like about 15 minutes. I have to get to another engagement. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. Whether your eyes are open or closed, doesn't really matter. Okay, just notice where you are. Okay, notice your feet. Whether you're barefoot, sandals on, shoes on, whatever it might be, just notice if you've got socks on. Okay? Notice the heat. Perhaps notice the whirring of the fans. Maybe some wind, right? On your skin. Noticing all the details. How does that, say, breeze feel on your skin compared to how it feels through your clothes? Right? All those little details are there to awaken you if you started to pay attention to them. So breathing in again, beautifully deep. And as we exhale, again, paying attention, and I'm going to walk around, I'm going to lightly touch you, back of the neck, your back. Noticing the plane going overhead. As it takes you more into the present moment. And then noticing the group dynamics. A lot of people in this group. Why are we here in a group? Because it creates strength. There's strength in numbers. Well, we take advantage of that opportunity so we can go further faster, we can go deeper. It allows us to, say, open up to different realities that are always there for us, but somehow we couldn't just, say, access for some reason. It's really not about doing or thinking any particular way. All those changes that you need will start to come inside for you. Beautiful breath in again. Just knowing where you are. You might be getting a little distorted, disoriented, so just notice how you feel. And as we exhale, or on the exhale, asking ourselves, how do I connect to pure source even stronger? And we notice noises, sounds outside of us, another plane going by, bringing us back into this moment, and then taking us even deeper into our own space, into our own bodies. Perhaps noticing that chest space for a lot of you, actually, really opening up. Perhaps some of you painful, as, say, some of the secrets, right? Some of the things that we've tried to hide away start opening up. It's okay. It's not there to distort you again, so don't worry. It's actually there to open you up, to completely free yourself. Just a noticeable breath in. Noticing the warmth of this room on your palms, your fingers, the back of your hands, your wrists, all the way up into your arms, your shoulders. Perhaps releasing, letting go. Whether you believe or not, doesn't matter. It's like gravity, whether you believe it or not. You're still controlled by it. Beautiful breath in again. And as we exhale, coming into the chest again. Again, it's really a great place just to say hash out or bring out all the stuff that we've stuck inside there. In fact, why don't we do this? Since a lot of you that I'm kind of scanning the room, you know, we're holding on to something dear or near, or something from like a fear space, because we don't want it again, so we protect that space, that area, right? Why don't we do this? You're in a safe environment, so just noticing where you are. Let's go ahead and open that chest space up. Any memories of yourself, any family memories, any experiences that you've had that distort you in the chest area. Okay? Let's just pretend that there's, say, the safe or a treasure chest or whatever that you see in there. Right? Let's just open that up for a moment. Again, you're totally safe to be who you are. Right? Nobody's watching. Let's open that up, see what's inside. I'll give you a few minutes as I continue to work on you overall. And see what pops up for you. Perhaps something that you've worked on already. Maybe you've cleared and surprisingly is still there. But let's get rid of it this time, if you want to. Again, all you need to do is notice. Get rid of your mom, your sisters, and stuff. Anything showing up? As we scan through, again, whether it's your memories, perhaps memories of a past lifetime, or say, programs, family patterns, so on. Something that you're not familiar with, but it's still there. Just kind of note it. And the next question is, do you need it? Or do you think you could just throw it away or let it go? You don't have to worry about pollution, it's recyclable. So we can let go. Again, I'll give you about a minute. You decide if you want to keep it. It's not if you really need it. Just note that it'll come back to you stronger if you really, really think you need it, without any, say, distortions or destruction associated with it. And next phase, is letting it go. Imagine somebody walking by. They have a basket. You can say, put whatever you don't need in that basket. Again, getting rid of it at a deep level once and for all. There's nothing to forgive, no one to forgive. If you need some forgiveness, that experience will come by. Or that opportunity will awaken for you. Noticing how you're feeling. Perhaps a little freer. Perhaps a little confused. Just notice, it's totally fine. Any emotion that you're feeling is just there because, well, you need to feel it, so enjoy it. As we hear another plane go overhead, taking us deeper, noting that you are, say, complete. Let's go ahead and take a nice, beautiful breath in. As we exhale, noticing our chin, the tip of our nose, space between your forehead. Perhaps places you've never really paid attention to. It's always been there. It's like all the opportunities that are right in front of you. Always been there, we just don't notice it. And then coming into this moment in time even more, noticing your hair, your arms, your back. Your legs. There we go. Noticing your feet, the way you're standing, the way you're sitting. Perhaps noticing the heat. As you awaken, as you open your eyes whenever you're ready, maybe stretching out a little bit. Okay. You come back into this time. More complete, more perfect, but perhaps maybe a little more disoriented or distorted. It's all good. Again, guys, how are you guys feeling? Doing good? Okay. I know we could stay here for hours and hours, but we can't. It's closing time. So anyway, thanks for coming here, guys. It's always a pleasure to work on you. If you want more information, there's some bookmarks outside, little smaller bookmarks. And then there's always my website, sajady.com.